Okay, I'm going to mute everybody. Hello, everyone. We are coming at you with Freyja this week. Sorry, I was muting people. We are coming at you with Freyja this week, and she is a badass Norse goddess, and Brandy is going to begin by reading us a epic, not literally epic, but epic in the slang sense poem. Epic poetry is like the Iliad or the Odyssey. I mean, like, you know, in the colloquial sense.
All right. So it says, "Come, ride my chariot," by Heath Witch. Be bold, be valiant, taste the adventure. Ride my chariot and feel the thrill of love, of passion, of desire. Be bold, be valiant, taste the adventure. Take up my helm and feel the rush of battle, of war, of loss. Be bold, be valiant, taste the adventure. Dance the seed, and feel the power of trance, of knowledge, of magic. Hush now, and with the cat's purr, may you know my loving touch. Listen quietly, hear my thorn. Feel my amber tears fall, drift in consciousness and shift beyond your shape. Come, ride my chariot. All you need to do is take my hand.
Yeah. You guys are in for a treat if you sensed it from that poem. I don't know about Brandy's experience because we haven't been able to talk too much this week, but Freyja is a force. Freyja is a force that survived Christianity. Freyja is a force that echoes through our voices, despite Norse mythology being overwhelmingly masculine. Freyja, I found, you know, in my search, and I mean, I feel like I'm only on the barely scratched the surface of Norse mythology. But I found her mythology not as easily accessible as other people, or other goddesses. Super easy to find out what she's for, why you invoke her, what her symbols are, but not as easy to obtain, I found, her actual mythology, other than, well, I'll start here. Other than she slept with the 4 dwarves. So I feel like there's this definite, like, obviously she's pre-Christian, so you didn't have the ideas of being chaste or anything. There was a lot of like sexual stuff happening. Like she even slept with whoever she wanted when Odin was, you know, traversing the 9 worlds or whatever he was up to. But anyway, she slept with the 4 dwarves, and the 4 dwarves represent each of the 4 elements. She did this to earn a necklace. Let me just find the name of the necklace. I'm going to butcher this because it's Norse, but I'll write it in the chat box. It's like Brisingamen, like if we're, like, that's not Norse at all, but, you know, like if we were pronouncing it in its English, I'm just spelling it.
Not gonna lie, when I saw some of the names, I was like, well, I'm glad Sam's saying this because
Yeah, no. I mean, even like this is the book I have on the subject. Like, I don't even know how to pronounce that. And it's like one of the big trees of whatever in Norse mythology. Anyway, so she slept with the 4 dwarves to obtain that necklace you see in the chat box. And that's a symbol of fertility. So like fertility for Freyja. Like you can't get any more fertile with this goddess. So I feel like she's really great coming from Lakshmi and recognizing our abundance and where we're abundant. Now you're coming into Freyja energy, which is like freaking manifestation. So like you get down and dirty with those 4 elements. You know, the necklace is the 5th element. and you can create whatever you want with Freyja. And I think you're gonna find, like my mom said about the miraculous, I think you're gonna find the miraculous here this week. Freyja used to be, the name Freyja actually used to be a title, meaning lady. So it never used to be a name, but over time it is a name. But yeah, it was just a title called lady. She's a member of the Aesir, so I'm butchering that too, Aesir, which is the sort of gods and goddesses belonging to Asgard, you know, like you're gonna like have so many Avengers references here.
The Valkyrie.
Yeah, she's a Valkyrie too. Fondness of love, fertility, beauty, and fine material possessions. So very similar to Lakshmi. Like we have like our northern version of Lakshmi here, except she's a witch. So she's also associated with witchcraft. Her nickname was Syr, or Syr, which is sow. So pigs were sacred in the north, and the pigs represented a symbol of fertility. I mean, think about humans. Like, think about how many more nipples a pig has, okay? Like, how many more babies they can feed at once, you know? So, definite fertility and abundance. She has a golden boar whom she travels upon. His name is Gullinbursti. It's like I'll write it again, Gullinbursti. And she travels on him. She also had a battle swine whom she called Hildisvin. I need to become Norse, apparently. There we go. Hildisvin. Her totem animals, as you may have picked up in the poem, were cats, which I think is so crazy that I got 2 cats this week. Because they are depicted as pulling her chariot. I had no intention of getting 2 cats, but here we are. Thank you, Freyja. Beware, if you're, you know, calling on her, you may end up with felines in your house. Typically, her cats are white and gray. And then she also has a feathered cloak, which enables her to shapeshift into a falcon, which is really great. Who doesn't want that? Her day is Friday, like today. Woohoo! And she has wept, she went in search of Odin and wept tears of gold in search of him, and went through all the 9 worlds. And then the giants lust after her because she's incredibly beautiful. And then Odin ends up rescuing her. Here's my favorite part, though, is, and this is, it really reminds me of the word vulva, not gonna lie, but it's vulva, and it has the 2 dots above the O. Mary, like, maybe chime in, you're from Austria, like, what does that even, how do you pronounce those 2 dots above the O?
I only just learned this.
Okay.
You pronounce it like a oos. Okay, so like ostrich, which is Austria in German, they have an O with the 2 dots, so it's Österreich.
Oh my gosh, then it becomes even closer to vulva. It'd be vulva.
Vulva, yeah. Vulva.
Yeah, how close to vulva is that? That's
Vulva.
insanity. I feel like that's not an accident. Anyway, thank you, Mary, for that grammar lesson. So she's a practitioner of Seidr, Seidr, which is the most organized form of magic. It's discerning the course of fate. I'm teaching a class right now, sweetheart. Where's your father? I don't know where Ollie is. I'm teaching. So she is able to discern the course of fate. This is why I say she's a manifestation goddess. Nowhere has said that. I'm saying that. She is a solar goddess because the sun in the north is feminine, unlike here. So anyway, Seidr, Seidr, is the ritual for divination, clairvoyance, seeking out the hidden secrets of the mind in hidden locations, healing the sick, bringing good luck, controlling the weather, and calling in game animals, so if you need to eat. But this type of magic can also be used to curse an individual or enterprise. It can blight the land and make it barren, and it can induce illness and enable you to tell false futures, sending someone on a really crappy journey. So this magic has two sides. It's like a Norse version of shamanism, actually. And they use weaving. So weaving is always associated with this type of magic to establish the fate of beings. And she was known as a Norn, N-O-R-N, Norn, which is a witch. And witches, of course, as kind of globally they are, set apart from society. So it was no different in Norse mythology. So she was kind of embraced because of her beauty, but also like feared, you know, because that girl could put a curse on you. There is a story that Neil Gaiman, or Gaiman actually, he goes by Gaiman, wrote in Norse mythology about Freyja's wedding, which is actually quite hilarious. So Freyja, this giant was lusting after her, and Thor lost his hammer, and the giants had stolen his hammer, and Thor is written about as such an idiot. Like, the Avengers just nailed it. He's hilarious to read about. Anyway, the giant stole his hammer, so he goes to Loki, and Loki's like, well, you know, let's ask Freyja. So they go to Freyja, and Loki has this idea, because the god or the giants are lusting after her. He has this, well, actually they went, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. They went to the giants, or Loki took, no, okay. Grounding myself. Loki asked Freyja for her magic cloak to become a falcon, found out that the giants stole the hammer, okay, asks the giants what they have to do, and they said, I want to marry Freyja, and then you can have your hammer back. So Loki goes back with Thor to ask Freyja if she'll marry them to get Thor's hammer back. Can you imagine what she says? Like, no, I'm not. In fact, she was so upset that her cats started hissing, and when they hissed and did their thing, the walls were shaking in her place, and Loki and Thor were afraid that the whole thing would come down on them. Like, she was a little like, no. So they end up getting the idea to make Thor the bride. True story. Thor becomes the bride. And then he's like, well, what if I have to sit next to the giant, and the giant puts his hand on my leg? And Loki's like, well, then I'll sit in between you and tell him it's our custom. And then they do, and the giants are, it kind of reminds me of Red Riding Hood, actually, because he's like, why are his legs as thick as trees? And Loki's like, oh, well, that's because this is a mystical, you know, bridal veil that won't reveal her beauty until you like raise the veil and go to kiss her, and then you'll see how beautiful she is. And then he's like, why are her eyes so intense? And she goes, because she's lusting for you. She can't wait to get into the marriage bed. Like, you know, all these, it reminds me of Little Red Riding Hood with like, why are your teeth so big, Grandma? You know, that kind of thing. And so anyway, I'm trying to remember how this ended, but oh yeah, basically the marriage was happening. They brought the hammer, and all of a sudden Thor takes the hammer and destroys the entire giant party. Actually, the funny parts were that they had such a huge feast, like a 9-foot salmon, and there was several of them, and Thor ate like 3 9-foot salmons, and they're like, why is she eating so much? And she goes, well, she's starved herself for 8 days because she couldn't be away from you. And like, Thor's just being a pig. Anyway, hilarious, right? So, my only criticism of the Avengers is like, don't ever give him a six pack. If that guy eats like that, there is no way he has a six pack. Like, he just lets that hammer do his work. Okay, he probably doesn't even exercise. Anyway, just saying, out there in Hollywood. When he had the beer belly, that was probably an accurate depiction of Thor, I would say. Yeah. If you haven't seen the Avengers, all of them, I'm probably like, spoiler alert already spoiled. I already spoiled it. Thor ends up with a beer belly, the end. Anyway, so that's kind of the story. Like, Freyja's not obviously a big part of it, but she does say no and gets really mad and like things shake. So here's a fun story for you, a real life story. So here I am thinking about this class. I feel like Brandy's finding all this cool stuff. And I'm like, why am I in the dark on Freyja? Like, why am I struggling so much to dig up all these myths? Like, I was looking at the 10 best Norse mythology books. I'm looking up, Google sucked. Like, Wikipedia was okay. I mean, Wikipedia is always come see, come saw, because anyone can post anything on there. But I do have these books, which I find are incredibly difficult to understand because they're all about runes. Now, how many of you have used runes or done runes as divination? Not Mary? Mary, you continue to shock and awe me, girl. Wow.
I have gifted runes to my sister-in-law because she's really into Norse mythology, and I like once pulled a rune, but that was it.
When you once pulled a rune, did it change your entire life?
I don't think so, because I don't even remember the rune.
Okay, because I find they kick your freaking ass. And so I've always been slightly afraid of runes. I have them. I have several sets of them, actually. I've used them for an incredibly long time, but I only pull them when I really want to know the answer. Okay? And like, I've been on like a 10-year abundance journey. And at the beginning of this journey, I was spending like a crazy person. I didn't have a budget. I was relying on the universe to always supply what I kept leaking out of my energy field. And by the way, that doesn't work. It's like having a hole in your bucket. Okay, just saying. Abundance 101, plug the hole in your buckets, everyone. Oh, Colette, put the hole in, like, put a plug in that, girl. So
That's
anyway, what, Brandy?
That's me this week too. It's just been like one thing after another, after another, after another.
Okay, well, maybe Freyja will help you, but I did pull a rune when I was in that habit, and it wasn't just like, oh, this week. It was like that. This was like a lifetime habit I had, and I pulled a rune on my finances, and it says your luck is about to change, and I thought, oh shit. And sure enough, I went spiraling down this like really shitty 10-year like massive set of financial abundance lessons. Okay, so dead on. These runes have never lied to me. So that is your cautionary tale. However, Freyja has runes. So she has Fehu, which looks like that. Okay, it's the F looking thing with them going up, because there's two kind of F looking things. One goes down. That's not Fehu. Okay, Fehu goes up like this. This is the rune of wealth associated with Freyja. Super, super cool rune. I love pulling Fehu. I'm like, oh, thank God, thank Goddess, right? Because it's just such a good sign to have Fehu. Then there's, hang on, I gotta look up the names again. Her other rune is Pertho. I'm not too familiar with Pertho, but it's like a cosmic womb. So it opens up a certain direction, but they say if you pull it like the other direction, it's like blocking your fertility and abundance. But if it's open, it's like an abundance rune, or like a womb, like just where you can create. So that's also a rune associated with Freyja. Then we have Inguz, Inguz, right here. Looks like this. I can take pictures of these and post them in Facebook so that you can, I recommend playing with these runes and using them as sigils. You can use them on candle magic. You can carve them into your candles if you want. Especially if you're looking for abundance and hoping to plug that hole in your bucket, maybe you start working with Freyja and see how you feel with it. Then we have, where's the H one? Hagalaz, which is actually really cool too. I could teach a whole class on this and may do that actually. This is Hagalaz. And we have Berkana, and I'll just briefly read these two in sequence. I just want to show you the runes first. So Berkana looks like a bee, like a triangular bee. And then last but not least, Leguz. I'm hoping it's the right way. It should be, this flips it, like the camera flips it, but it should be like the short piece should be to your right, and then the straight line on your left. But the camera, I think, is flipping it, so it looks backwards. Okay, so I slept with, I'll tell you what these runes mean briefly. You know what Fehu is. Fehu is wealth. And then the womb one, but I'll go through the last four in a second. I just want to tell you that I had so much trouble trying to find mythology on Freyja, or enough mythology, I feel like, that I slept beside these runes last night, and I placed them, and I was like, "Okay, Freyja, like, come into my dreams." Okay, so you want to hear what the freaking dream I had was? Cat sex trafficking. And I was trying to stop cats from being sex trafficked. Like, what is that about? Anyway, I'm sure the fact that I was trying to save, like, these cats were in hotel rooms. Like, I was like, there was like 16 cats in hotel rooms, and I was trying to get them out, and they were coming with me. Like, I was like sneaking them out of the hotel. And I thought, okay.
Well, I think she got your attention.
She got my attention. So just be forewarned, your dreams may get weird if you ask her to come into them. Also, the author of this book had a really nasty neighbor, and she was practicing witchcraft, and he didn't like it. And she was practicing like Norse type witchcraft, like she's into Norse mythology. And he, in order to threaten her, left an axe outside her door. And so she wrote Freyja's runes on the axe and gave it back to him. And he got taken away, like institutionalized, because the other neighbors said he acted possessed, and he got taken away. Like, that's what I mean. Like, these runes are incredibly powerful. I don't know what kind of magic is in them, but they're already magic, and that's why I only use them when I really want to know something. But you can use them in those ways. I don't really recommend cursing people with them. That has a certain set of karma with it. But I think if you're trying to, you know, call in wealth or whatever, I think you're probably safe to candle magic that Fehu symbol. Okay, so then she had, going back to the runes, so we had Fehu, the wealth rune. Then we had the womb one, which the name's escaping me right now. Pertho, that was the womb one. And then we have Inguz. So Inguz, Inguz. Where did you go? There you are, 95. is so it symbolizes Freyja in general. So probably if you call on Ingus, you're basically calling on her. It's it has to do with how these tribes got colonized too. So it's a fertility rune. And it's literally named after Freyja. So there you go. And it because it symbolizes a double helix, it's actually a diamond, but when the diamond keeps going, like this, often depicted like this in the Western world. I don't know if it is anywhere else, but definitely here. It represents a double helix. So that's kind of cool. It's like DNA. It's like fertility in your DNA. And so it symbolizes the rune of progeny. So you could replace like son of with daughter of. And then we have that Hagalaz. There you are, 48, which is its traditional meaning is hail. So that is interesting. And it's the emergence of order from chaos. Cool. And it can mean hail as in literally, like think of how hail destroyed Calgary this week. I don't know, Mary, if you heard that, but it destroyed houses this week, like took off siding and completely wrote off
cars and windows. And
yeah, like windows were smashing. It's insane. It was baseball-sized hail. So that's Hagalaz in action, okay? And then we had the one that started with a B, Berkana. 82. Berkana means birch or poplar. It's a goddess rune. And it represents, I didn't see that before, a pair of breasts. Do you see that now? It represents a pair of breasts. I never saw that. So it relates to the goddess Bercha, who's a patron of mothers and children. So the process of gestation and birth. Are you getting the theme already? Like it's a lot of birth, a lot of wombs, a lot of fertility, a lot of wealth, okay, in these runes. And then last but not least was Legus, meaning lake. This rune is feminine. The goddess associated with her is actually Nerthus, and probably the oldest goddess known to Germanic sources. Worshipped on an island in a lake, and supposedly bestows blessings whenever she is visited, or wherever she is visited. So once a year, everyone laid down their weapons while her wagon was ritually driven around the mainland. And then the church put a stop to that practice, unfortunately. So it's a powerful rune for occult work of a beneficial nature. Okay, beneficial nature. So water, like the astral, is a transmitting agency or a mediating and conducting principle. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. And it can also mean love or life. So those are some pretty freaking powerful runes that are associated with Freyja, hey?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of feminine juiciness. Cool.
So some of the stuff that I found, excuse me, is so she's like radical acceptance and the goddess of discernment, which basically saying, I spend my time wisely and I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. So don't say yes just because you feel obligated or you're worried about hurting, or like disappointing somebody or whatever. She's all about the, stand in your power, stand in what's right for you, and only say yes when it is a holy hell yes.
It's the giant asking to marry you. Don't say yes because you want Thor to get his hammer back.
Right? No matter how sexy the man might be.
Yeah.
Not with the big belly.
Yeah, right? I don't know if they had Chris Hemsworth in the Norse days.
Probably not.
So, Brandy, are you taking us on a journey?
I will take you on a journey.
Okay.
So I had wrote that you needed a candle. So if you don't have that lit, please do so now.
I'm going to mute myself, Brandy.
What's that?
Actually, no, I'm not going to mute myself.
Okay.
Anyway.
And also the incense. Light that as well. Sam, are you coming back to your chair?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm just lighting things.
Sorry, I forgot to take my allergy stuff, and then incense makes me go all like. And then each of you have your journal close at hand too. This one I won't make you light on fire. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna yell at the boys to be quiet just a sec. Okay. All right, is everybody ready? So make yourself comfortable. You can sit in your chair, you can lie on the floor. And when you're ready, close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Hold it for 4 and release for 4. And then pause. Breathe in for 4. Hold it for 4. Release for 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold it for 4. Release for 4. Breathe in for 4. Hold it for 4. Release for 4. And then just continue breathing at a rate that's comfortable for you. Now picture yourself on a high hilltop with the sun beating down on your skin. You are naked, but you do not feel ashamed of this. Rather, there is an intense power working its way through your blood and your bones, making you feel vibrant and alive. You lift your face to the sun and raise your arms, soaking in the sunlight. From behind you, there is the sound of running paws, and you turn to see a chariot racing up the hillside towards you. It is being pulled by two enormous cats, and the woman inside of the chariot is beautiful. Her hair is the color of sunlight. Her pale skin is creamy and white. The chariot comes to a stop beside you, and the woman gets out. You can now see that she is as naked as you are, and you realize that this is the goddess Freyja. Freyja gives you a big, bright smile and hugs you close. Her touch is gentle and loving, with a hard edge beneath the surface. You correctly determine that she is a goddess who knows and enjoys life, but who does not let others overpower her. Come, fly with me, Freyja says, and a pair of enormous falcon wings sprout from her back. They lift her into the air, and she reaches down a hand to you. Come fly, she repeats. You take Freyja's hand and feel your back tingle as your own wings shoot forth and carry you into the air. Freyja pulls you higher to rise with her into the clouds and beyond, into the brilliant blue sky. Your wings match hers for speed and dexterity, and together you soar and curve and dance in the thermals. Freyja releases your hand and encourages you to fly on your own. And as you explore the wonders of your own flight, you can feel the strength and confidence sing through your soul as you realize that you are strong and beautiful and capable of anything. Don't forget my lessons, Freyja calls to you. You can do anything, be anything you wish to be. Whenever you think yourself too ugly, too unskilled, less able, too unsure, call on me. I shall come to you. She swoops around you, and you can see her adoration at being whole and free. She comes close to you, looks you right in the eye, and asks, "So what's stopping you right now? What is stopping you from being who you are, who you want to be?" You pause, thinking, as your wings beat in the air. And then you answer Freyja's question. In return, she may give you some advice or ask further questions that are as sharp and accurate as a spear in battle, and yet as heart-rending as a lost lover's touch. Listen to what Freyja has to say, for to hear her words is to listen to the wing beats of your own heart. After a time, Freyja hugs you close again, and you feel yourself become light and weightless. Your wings disappear, but you do not feel afraid. You thank Freyja for your time, and if you feel it is appropriate, Ask her what you can give her as an offering when you return to the mortal world, and then remember her reply. You slide from Freyja's arms and descend, slowly and gently, like a feather floating in the air. Darkness cradles you, and you feel calm and safe. Inhale deeply and let the breath out, becoming more aware of your surroundings as you do so. And then another breath in and another breath out. And one more. In and then out. And open your eyes and return to your room. And then you can make a note in your journal of Freyja's words. So that way you can remember them and come back to them later. And
Very cool. Thank you, Brandy.
you're welcome.
Does we have a couple minutes, so does anyone want to share their messages from Freyja?
Come on, Colette. Someone's got to go first.
Well, I can too. Colette, just unmute yourself if you're Or Mary, go ahead.
Mine was on,
Okay.
my message was all around judgment, my own and others, and not to, it doesn't matter what others say or do, stay in your own self-empowerment to move through your own judgments about yourself.
Yes. I love that message.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
So,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Colette.
No worries.
Mary, what'd you get?
So her response was that, or my response was that old versions of me were like holding me back. And 2 weeks ago, I kind of like cut ties to all those old versions of me that were kind of anchoring me to that still, by cutting out a couple relationships. And she had said, well, that now there's nothing that's actually holding you back but yourself. And then I just felt like this really, really, it's like I saw my oversoul, like
Whoa.
just this, like, yeah, like this gold, I can't even put it into words, this massive gold being. And I saw myself like cowering from this gold being. And she had said that you're afraid of your own power. You're afraid of who you're rising to be because you feel scared and unworthy of that level of yourself. And then I just asked her to help me to not be afraid anymore. And she said, there's nothing that's holding you back now.
Wow.
That's really cool. I can't wait to see what that brings this week for you. That's awesome. Yeah, I got the message just because what was stopping me was sort of exhaustion and overwhelm type stuff. And so I just got the message to like rest, look after yourself, and really take care of your energy field because everyone benefits when you do that. So I just got the message like, full permission to take it easy. So that was my message.
I think that's wise too.
Right? Anyone else? Before we go? No? Mom, you're not going to speak? Not going to use your voice? You got to unmute yourself. I think I might be able to do it. No.
What came through was just stay fearless. Do not be afraid. Like basically stay in your own power. And to do this is to meditate more often and to visualize easily and effortlessly. So practice that, and then it will become more clear to you.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, that's awesome. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Brandy, for that guidance. I think it's always great to experience the goddess yourself. Does anyone have any questions? I will put the pictures of the runes in the Facebook page. And maybe if you want me to, I could do like a brief description of each. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll do the brief description of each. Or if the internet can do it for me, I will just do that. Otherwise, I'll type it up if I can't find what I want. But I'll put it in the group either way. And then you guys can use that however you see fit. You can even do like we do in Reiki and like visualize that rune symbol around your body. Like if you're really working with Feihu this week, really seeing that if you're into like fertility, if there's anything you're trying to manifest, you could use, the womb one, or I forget the other fertility one I mentioned. So you can visualize those all over your body. You can draw them on papers. Like you could write what you're manifesting and draw it on the back of the paper that you're doing and put it on an altar. If you have actual runes, you can put them on the altar, those ones I mentioned. So yeah. And if you have felines, love all over them. Otherwise, embrace your own spiritual kitties. And cat energy. Cats never overextend themselves. Have you noticed that? Like, cats are like, I'm going to sleep now and I'm not going to put in more work than there has to be. Right, Brandy? You have adult cats. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they know how to conserve their energy. You know, and when they want to go like a bat out of hell, they do it. And that's it. And then they sleep some more.
It's called independence.
Yeah. And just like they seem to have this knowledge of like what, you know, yeah.
Sam is so funny. I don't know what to do with them.
I don't understand cats, but Freyja is teaching me.
They're very strange creatures.
I know, I texted Brandy too, like, what are these? Why are they meowing at me? I don't understand their language. Like, what do you want? Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm such a dog person, Mary. Like, I get dogs, but cats, I'm like, this is weird. And I know they're like the symbol of the goddess, but they're strange creatures. Yeah.
Mhm.
At least I'm rescuing them from sex trafficking.
That's
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us live. Also, thank you for joining us in the the other time and space. Maybe you're somewhere else in the 9 worlds like Odin, but I really appreciate all of your energy and the energy of this group. And I think, Brandy, we only have 3 more classes left.
3 or 2.
Yeah.
2 or 3. Have to recount.
Yeah. So, wow. Crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I love you all. Happy birthday to Bella. She's gonna have
Thank
fun
you.
tonight. And enjoy your summer solstice, everyone. You have the goddess of the sun on your side. So, perfect timing.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, love you all.
All right. Love you all too. Bye.
Bye.